Hello and welcome to another edition of Touchline. It's good to have all of you back, really, as we prepare for the start of the new season. I'm George Addo Jr. Like we do it every other weekend, we get to discuss, and it's great to have the whole crew joining me at least this time, and as we look forward to the start of the new season. Kofi Esikyire joins me from the United Kingdom. Kofi, how are you doing?
I'm great, George. It's good to be back. It's really, really good to be back after having a momentarily sabbatical from.
Yeah. It was important that you took a break.
Absolutely. I think the focus have shifted a bit to the World Athletics Championship and then the warm-up games here in Birmingham. But then football is back in action. We are zooming straight into action, and then I'm excited to be back.
Yeah, excited to talk about all the exciting things. And really, in the space while we're not having the discussions, there were so many refreshing interviews. The last of them last weekend was that interview with David Abagna of RTU, who may end up leaving the club anyway.
Exactly. Oh, was an interesting
go there. Josh Acquaye joins me from the Blue Moon. Josh, how you doing?
I'm doing good, George. It's been a while. I mean, it's been a good summer, like Kofi said. I mean, we've been following the World Athletics Championship, to the Commonwealth Games, even to both the women's AFCONs and then the women's Euros as well. It's been a very good summer. So looking forward to the new season. Of course, there's been signings, there's been preseason games, and it's shaping up to be a very nice season. And we are looking forward to it. I mean, it starts on Friday with Arsenal, so we're looking forward to it.
It's a big one. And
just quick one. Let me say something.
But there's been a number of wait.
Josh,
there's been a number of open days that Arsenal have started. What's your question, though, to Josh?
Oh, I'm saying that I could see that Josh is looking quite old. I think it's good to see my brother growing old. Got his beard shaved and wow, right? I'm excited to see my brother.
You are talking to the defending champions, if you're aware of that.
Talking about Arsenal starting the season. I think I was with you in Brentford.
Yeah, Brentford.
Yeah, when I was with
I think 2 seasons back, it was at Emirates against Leicester City. I remember that game.
Yeah, I think it was against.
It was against Leicester. I think so. Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, I saw that.
No, I think the previous season was against Fulham.
And then there was Leicester too.
And then there was Leicester as well.
Yeah, Brentford.
I think it was Leicester after Leicester won the league. They defended the first was against Arsenal. Yeah.
I was there to watch that game. 7 goals further. Great stuff then. Anyway, look, and again, I have to say sorry to all of you who were expecting more discussions, especially through the transfer window. The thing is, transfer window still got a lot of time to go through, so we'll be able to break all of these tough subjects for you as we go. But now we're looking forward to the start of the new season, so we can talk about what the clubs have done at least till now, and look at the men available going into the season. Of course, it will be updated. I'm saying this because some of you always want to go hard at pundits because they predicted this and predicted that. You actually predict based on the facts right in front of you. So someone can predict that Man City are going to win the league this week, but depending on the kind of strikers that may get into the system, can decide that, okay, Liverpool are going to win, or Manchester United will get into the top 4, don't get into the top 4. As we stand, we'll give you the analysis where we are right now. So generally, Kofi, let's talk about defending champions and the contenders. So what have you made of the transfer window activity on Man City so far?
I think for Man City fans, they would have loved to see a few more transfers or a few more signings from their club. Obviously, we've seen Zinchenko leave. We've seen Raheem Sterling also leave, and Raheem Sterling, we can all attest since he joined Man City, has scored over a century of goals for them, and he's got some good number of assists also. So if he's moving away from City, then he's taking a lot of goals away from them. Let's not forget, Gabriel Jesus has also moved on to Arsenal, and he takes a lot of goals also away from Man City. So in that department, you might think that they become a bit thinner, but City has always been City. City has always shown that, look, they don't necessarily need frontliners to thrive or to win leagues or to dominate the English Premier League. However, with the arrival of Erling Haaland from Dortmund, like we said, I think we said before the season, our last show when the season ended, that look, this guy coming into City comes in with also lots of goals. He might not hit the ground running, like we expect, but then look, he comes in with lots of quality. And interestingly, I think both Liverpool and City are taking it and looking for options, alternatives going into the season, because they look at going neck to neck with each other again at the end of the season, last season, we also what Pep Guardiola said. We heard what Klopp also said, that he called Guardiola and congratulated him. Guardiola told him, let's push each other again next season. It gives that indication that both managers feel that, look, they are head and shoulders above every other, their peers in the league. And maybe statistically, maybe on the field of play, they are showing it. They are showing working that indeed they are. And bringing in Haaland and then Núñez, which seem to be like they are looking for alternatives in playing focal points in their teams. I tweeted recently that for the first time in 3 or 4 years, both Liverpool and City are buying number 9s, target men, and they're looking at having plan B to their games. And I think indeed it's proactiveness. It's looking at vision from both managers that teams are getting used to their style of play. Let's not forget, regardless of how Liverpool swiftly they play, how fluently or beautifully Man City play, teams are still finding tune to or finding solutions to how they play. They might dominate you still, but then having options, having alternatives in terms of how to tweak your attack is always key. And Erling Haaland getting in there, my only worry will be how quickly he settles. What he commands a hefty fee, just like his compatriot for Liverpool. But then, what is the expectation of the team for the player? And if City are going to give him that time to settle, give him that time to ease himself into the team, I think he'll be a phenomenal signing for City. City are also looking at Cucurella from Brighton, but I think as of yesterday, as of even today, they are still not ready to up that £40 million bid that they made. Brighton are holding on for that £50 million. City are saying it's just 40, take it or leave it. So there's a bit of tussling there. And look at, for City, that attacking quartet they have, I think it's enough. They've still mind you, they've still got that Bernardo Silva, they've still got Riyad Mahrez who chip in with goals, they've still got Phil Foden, who I think has been, that kid on the block and for Man City. So yeah, going into the season, again, them and then Liverpool would always stand as favourites to win the league.
Let me come to you, Josh, on this one. I don't know whether it's frustration or it's surprise at the rate at which players have left the club. And some great players you felt that were still a bit on. Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko, we could keep mentioning the name, Raheem Sterling and co. What is the feeling there like? I mean, you have been speaking to a lot of Man City fans and you are right there. What kind of reaction do you get from them?
I think the reaction is all about frustration. I think that from the start of the window, when it was announced that Erling Haaland was going to sign for the club, a lot of the fans were excited. Obviously, you bear in mind that he had already signed Julian Alvarez from River Plate in January and loaned him back to River Plate, and so he was going to come in the summer. Then obviously, of course, they made the deals for Calvin Phillips to come in, for Stefan Moreno Ortega as well to come in to deputize for Ederson. So I think that from the start of the window, there was a bit of excitement from the Man City fans, but as the window has gone on and they've begun to lose players in Gabriel Jesus, Raheem Sterling, Zinchenko. I mean, it's looking like a frustrating one, because you look at the Man City squad, and for a very long time they have played without a striker, and they have played very well, and they've won the title on a couple of occasions without a striker. They've been able to challenge in the Champions League, even though they still haven't won it. They've been able to challenge in all the cup competitions, even though they haven't won almost all of them. But they always get into the latter stages of the FA Cup, of the Carabao Cup, and whatnot. And so I think that you look at the City team right now, and now they've got a striker who will need a lot more service than when they were playing without a striker. They've got 2 strikers in there. I mean, Julian Alvarez can do a job on the flanks for you, but he is also a striker. We need to bear in mind that he's also a striker. So they brought in 2 strikers in Erling Haaland and Julian Alvarez. Now, you look at the City squad, they've let go of Raheem Sterling and Gabriel Jesus, 2 players who were very much deployed on the wings for Man City, and they could do a job on the wings for Man City. They could stretch opponent defenses. They could put in very good balls in the box. Raheem Sterling obviously has very good numbers. His assist levels, even the last day of the season against Aston Villa, he was one of the game changers for City. So you look at the squad now, and it looks as if they are a bit lightweight. A lot of City fans do feel that the squad is very lightweight, especially in that attacking third. Fine, they've brought in Erling Haaland. He's a very good. He's probably one of the best at his age at the moment in terms of strikers in the world. And so yes, the excitement is there, but as to creating for him to be able to score those goals, players who have to adapt to his style of play, players who have to adjust to how he wants the ball played to him for him to make use of those chances. I think that is where the problem is, because you look at the players City now have left to play on the flanks. There's just Riyad Mahrez and Grealish, and even Foden to an extent. Grealish is more of a central player. He's not really your out and out winger. Riyad Mahrez is also not one to provide a lot of crosses into the box. He's more of an inverted winger, somebody who likes to cut in and do his damage in those half spaces and in those number 10 rows, as and when the chance brings itself. And so I think that a lot of City fans are frustrated. You look at even their defense. I think that the defense needed a bit of beefing up. They haven't got it yet. They've lost Zinchenko. The Cucurella deal doesn't look like it's going to happen. It looks like it's going to go to Chelsea. And so it's a bit of frustration for a lot of the City fans. And the community show that's even highlighted those needs for them to have a winger. And mind you, this is a City team that at one stage under Pep Guardiola had very good wingers in Leroy Sané, Raheem Sterling, and even Gabriel Jesus to a point who was also being deployed on the wings. And so I think that a lot of City fans are very frustrated. They want to see more signings. They want to see at least a couple more signings in their attacking tech. They believe that one more winger to add to Mahrez and Foden and Grealish is needed. And then obviously a left back is also needed because Zinchenko is gone now. So I think that at the moment, it's not looking too good. A lot of City fans are not happy about the dealings that the club have done so far. Well, of course, yes, there's fans can be happy about the fact that they are beginning to do things the Liverpool way, happy about the net spend, can bluff about the next spend now with Liverpool fans. But at the end of the day, you've got to look at the squad, and it doesn't look as good as it was before.
Excellent points that you guys have made there. Now, we've still got about some 9 minutes to go on this one, and it's really going to be a Man City Liverpool affair as we preview the English Premier League. So we have a balance of what Man City spending has looked like. Let's come to you, Kofi, again on Liverpool spending this season. Just look at the balance of things. What you've allowed to go, what you have in. Good team, better team.
I think I won't say better team, but I think promising is the word for me, because if you take away Sadio Mane, who aside his goals and assists, has been one of your potent and most dangerous attackers, and bringing in a player who would have to take time to settle, even though he's got longer years ahead of him, it looks promising. Yes, I think that Liverpool, to some extent, like City, have also become thinner in that attacking third. If you sell Sadio Mane and then you sell Divock Origi, who also chips in with a few goals, and then you sell Minamino, who was your top scorer in both cup games that we won, then that's 3 attackers gone, and bringing in just Darwin Núñez shows that look, it's your attacking third becomes a bit thinner, but then it only shows how focused Jurgen Klopp wants to make this team, or how narrow he wants to make this team, or how I don't want to use the word he's going to overload the team, but then it shows how he is bent on making sure that every player gets enough playing time in the team. Maybe the likes of Minamino and Kofi didn't get that, and he had to be happy to let them go. But then for me, it's some good business, because if you can buy Darwin Núñez for what, £80 million, that's 60 million and 20 million add-ons, and then you can sell money for 30, 32, and then make £15 off both Minamino and make £15 again off what's the name, the right back, Neco Williams and co. Then it's some good business. You're talking about net spend, then the club can talk about making some good business there. But then I think fans would always want to see marquee signings, regardless of whoever you bring in. Josh rightly said, City still feel like, the fans of City still feel like the team is not still up there yet to what they want, even though they've got the likes of Calvin Phillips and co in midfield. They still want more. And for Liverpool fans, I still think that they still feel a signing or 2 more, especially in the midfield, and 1 more attacking in attacking third would be good. Look, going into the season, I think for central defense, they got depth, squad in depth, quality in depth for central defense. You can boast of 4 quality centre backs in your team. You can, and again, they apart from Alisson, who was probably the best goalkeeper in the league alongside Ederson, the other goalkeepers keep going in and out of injury, so they are thin in that department also. So fans are not necessarily happy, but then they are optimistic. They're looking forward to the season. And do they have enough quality to go all the way in the league? I think so. They do have it, because if you have the likes of Diogo Jota, Luis Diaz, Mohamed Salah, Darwin Núñez, who will just come, and then Roberto Firmino, that's 5 in attack for you. And let's not forget, they've got Fabio Carvalho from Fulham, who's shown a glimpse of promise. I saw a few games of him in the Championship, and he looked really decent. He brings that Firmino, Coutinho-esque aura around him. He's got that feeling, he's got that vibe, he's got that creativity, that ball juggling, taking the ball and then trying to look for spaces. So it's interesting times. I'm optimistic about the season. I'm looking forward to how the Jurgen Klopp will pan out. Already in preseason, I've seen him play a formation that he isn't used to, or this Liverpool team aren't used to, that 4-2-3-1 with Fabinho and Thiago holding and having Mo Salah and Luis Diaz both on the wide sides, and then Darwin Núñez up front. So it looks like if the 4-3-3 doesn't work to some extent, he has an option, he has an alternative in moving to a traditional 4-2-3-1, which still would have a lot of quality in there. For City, I think it's basically the same. Might be different personnels in different positions, but then look, I have always said that regardless of what these two teams do, the mannerisms in which they push each other for the title, the way and manner in which they can give each other a good and give each other a game. Like we also, it was a curtain raiser in the competition. But then look at the quality of play that they showed to us. It was a Premier League, a Category A Premier League game that we also last weekend in Leicester. So for me, I think both sides will still push each other to the league. First and second, I have my money on that. And yeah, I'm optimistic about the season.
Very optimistic about the season. Don't know what you made of it. Josh, quite a number of candidates have had a hard go at it. I think these days, well, sometimes Liverpool fans are right. There's an overkill when it comes to how Mane was treated and what Mane is likely to do and how Liverpool are going to miss out on money. But well, you've looked within the set. We've seen Liverpool play against Man City, at least in the Community Shield. We don't want to take too much of that because it's all part of the build-up to the season. But look, how much are they going to miss Sadio Mane?
I think Sadio Mane is a big loss. I think he adds something different to what any of their front players do in that team. And I think that he's one player that anytime they go and get stuff, you can look up to him and then he can bring something out of the bag. And I think that he's going to be a big loss. But I do still feel that Liverpool would find a way without Sadio Mane. I still think that Klopp, as he has always shown over the years, that anytime he buys a player, he knows exactly how he's going to use a player. So I think that Darwin Núñez has already shown us a few glimpses of what he can do. I mean, of course, he was missing chances in preseason, but his movement and his ability to get on the end of chances tells you that this is a very good player, this is a very good striker, somebody who knows what he's about. And so he came on in the competition and obviously got the assist for the penalty and also scored as well. So I think that Liverpool will do just fine without Sadio Mane. He's going to be a big loss. I mean, there will be games where Liverpool fans would go like, if we had Mane, it would have probably been a different story altogether. But I still feel that they'll be right there with Man City, neck and neck with Man City. I still think that they have enough quality in that side. Obviously, a lot of people do forget about Diogo Jota as well. He's somebody who gives them a lot of goals. And so I think that they are going to do fine. I think that those two teams are just about where they are. I don't think any of them, I think that, yes, fine. City fans are a bit frustrated. Liverpool fans are also a bit frustrated with certain signings and what the club needs to do in the transfer market. But I still do feel that those two teams have been able to maintain a level where the rest of the chasing pack might not be strong enough to catch them.
I don't know, but I think we can all agree that Liverpool and Manchester City are way ahead. But just in the final minutes before we wrap this up, Kofi, how disappointing is that? Knowing that they had the chance to try and push up. Well, I don't know who you're going to blame in this one, because who are your candidates then? Well, Chelsea, who have their own issues. They're still in a bit of a transition right now. Arsenal, who have shown some bravery at least for the first time. I don't know if you'll be too harsh if you talk about that. Manchester United, who have a whole rebuilding exercise to really get down, or Spurs who will still stack out there with Conte. I don't know. So how are you going to look at it? Was it inevitable, or there is a bit of disappointment from those watching from the outside?
I think it's a bit of both, if you ask me. There's obviously some disappointment from somewhere, but then both clubs themselves knowing that, look, they've kept the core of their team. let's use Liverpool for example quickly. They've got their first 11, the first start 11. Literally everybody is still in the club apart from Sadio Mane, who's moved on. And I think Klopp was smart enough to bring in Luis Diaz, 6 months earlier to get used to that Sadio Mane slot. We all saw what happened when he came on. When he came in January, Klopp made sure he stuck to the left side and then moved Sadio Mane into central, so that guy will get used to that role before probably Sadio Mane leaves. And that was proactive. That was the vision. That was good vision on the part of Klopp. So I think for the club themselves, they might not be too bothered, unlike the fans who are showing for more. And let's not forget, for City also, the club might not be too bothered because look, in the last 6-7 months before the season ended, we also saw Raheem Sterling becoming hugely a big part player of the club. He wasn't playing, he wasn't starting every game, he wasn't even being a regular as we all thought. Sometimes he was fit and he was overlooked on match days. We also that because I think for some reason Pep felt he could give the younger ones coming like Phil Foden enough game time to prove that yes, in the future or in the years ahead he can be a Man City regular. So for me, I think that yes, for both clubs they might not really have a problem with what they might wish they did more signing, but then they might not necessarily have a problem with it. But for fans, obviously fans are always greedy. Fans always want more. And then for other clubs, maybe they might be happy to some extent. And look, the two clubs we want to chase, the two clubs that have set a standard that we aspire to reach, are not making maybe enough signings. Let's look at Arsenal. They've made lots of signings this season. I think quality signings for themselves. I'm excited for Arteta. I'm really itching to see how he plays this season, how he gets. Preseason has been exciting, but I don't dwell so much on preseason like you all know. So I want to see how when the game starts proper, when the league starts proper, he carries that preseason form into the season proper. And look, if he can, then Liverpool and City obviously know that yes, they'll always be the standard for everybody. But then I think Arsenal brings in a different angle of excitement into the league.
Just as a final word from you, even if you want to surprise these two, who would it be?
I think my money will be on Spurs. I think that for Arsenal have looked good in preseason. Wow. Yeah, I think Arsenal have looked good in preseason, no doubt about that. But yeah, I still think that the Arsenal squad still lack a bit of bite, a bit of character. I think that it will still take them maybe a year more to be able to get to that level with a bit more signings, especially in their midfield where there's obviously problems when people like Thomas Partey and Xhaka are not around. And so I think that they will need a bit more beefing up. But for Spurs, I look at Antonio Conte. This is a manager who knows how to play league football. He's won the title in England with Chelsea already. He's won the title in Italy as well with Inter. So I think that he knows very well what to do in a league situation. And he's also made some very good signings. I think that probably at the moment they have had the best transfer window on paper. You look at the kind of signings they've made into their squad. They've added some real quality. They've added Richarlison to Kulusevski, Kane and Son up front. They've added Bissouma into that midfield as well. They've added Jess Spence, who was really impressive for Nottingham Forest as well in the championship last season. So I think that, and they have shown last season that against the big boys, they can play boot for boot with the big boys. They've shown it against Man City. They've shown it against Liverpool. So I think that my money is on them to push Liverpool and Man City. Obviously not to be in the title race, but they can push those two teams and probably get the third spot back. So I think that for me it will be Spurs.
Well, so guys, I have to say a big thank you at least for today's show. It's good. Weighing up the two, Man City and Liverpool, what they look like and what we're expecting. One thing for sure is that our viewers know that there'll be a lot of head-to-head collisions as we go between these two. So far as Liverpool and Man City are expected. It's such a wide season. Let's see how it all goes on day one and see how it picks up. Thank you very much, Kofi, for joining me on the show. And thank you very much as well, Josh, for joining me on the show as well. We're definitely meeting next week to have another big discussion. And I'm sure then we can go into the nitty-gritties of what Chelsea have looked like, or Arsenal, or Manchester United, or Ten Hag. Well, it's all good. So we meet next week. Be good.